Hello, what's up everyone? And in today's video, we're once again going to be asking ourselves why Rockstar scrapped a ton of awesome content, and on top of that, left behind a trail of clues in the game files, just so we could drool over what could have been. And honestly, if you stop and think about it for a sec, there's something kind of twisted about it. Not only did they ditch some seriously great ideas with huge potential, but they also left breadcrumbs behind, almost like they wanted players to know what they missed out on. So in the files of GTA 5, ladies and gents, you can actually find some unused UI elements. Simple words like dance, level down, level up, great, missed, perfect, ready, or weak. On their own, not super revealing, but luckily they're listed under a very telling section called Dancing MG. Which means, yep, GTA 5 was originally supposed to have a dance minigame. Probably something similar to the one from San Andreas. And honestly, it would have been a perfect fit for the vibe of the game. Think about places like Tequila or Bahama Mamas. Those were begging for something like this. Tequila even has a fully fleshed out interior, but it's only accessible during one of Trevor's side missions. The UI assets hint at a San Andreas style rhythm game, but it looks like this one would have had level progression. There's also a good chance it was originally planned as part of the After Hours DLC for GTA Online, the one that added nightclubs, or could also be utilized for Cayo Perico, since that whole update had a party vibe too. But nope, never made it in. Now what's wild is that this cut content actually ties in nicely with another scrapped feature. GTA 5 has a fake in-game dating site called HushMush.com. Unfortunately, it's not usable, but turns out it was supposed to be. Players found unused promotional emails for the site, as well as full-on conversation strings between your character and the people you were meant to flirt with via email. Of course, in true GTA fashion, all of these conversations ended badly. Either you found out you were talking to a bot, or the other person just didn't like you. Except for one storyline, which is absolutely hilarious. Turns out Amanda and Michael both had profiles on HushMush, and they could end up unknowingly messaging each other. They flirt, toss compliments about their partners back and forth, completely unaware that they're actually talking to their spouse. Eventually, Amanda sends Michael a photo, and boom, cover's blown. Of course, Michael doesn't get his heart broken or anything, since both of them had been cheating on each other for years anyway. Business as usual. And here's another fun detail. Franklin probably wasn't supposed to have access to online dating at all. Why? Because the dating sites were meant to parody super desperate last resort type platforms. And Franklin just wasn't that guy. He wasn't drowning, so he didn't need to clutch at any straws. In Liberty City Stories, among the unused assets left by Rockstar, you can find shooting range targets. The only problem? LCS doesn't have a shooting range. So what's going on here? What's even more curious is that these targets show some rather suspicious characters. Why are they suspicious? Well, Rockstar has a habit, like in Vice City, of reusing character artwork from previous games as shooting targets. In Vice City's case, they used artwork from GTA 3, but in LCS, these faces don't ring any bells. We checked a bunch of Rockstar titles, but we couldn't confirm whether these are leftover characters from another game or just some random nobodies. Still, logically speaking, a shooting range would make sense in LCS. After all, Vice City had one, San Andreas had one, Vice City Stories had one, and LCS came out between San Andreas and VCS, so yeah, why not? And hey, the evidence doesn't stop at just the targets. There are also dialogue lines that are meant for a gun shop clerk. You're seeing them now on the screen. And yes, okay, the lines are copy-pasted from GTA 3, but there's a twist. They were re-recorded by a different voice actor, it seems.
I got all your home defense needs.
I got all your home defense needs.
And there's one line at the end that wasn't even in GTA 3. It's the one that says, "You're welcome to use the shooting range around the back." It makes sense that that line was missing in GTA 3, since GTA 3 didn't have a shooting range either. So that line clearly points to cut content that was meant to exist specifically in GTA LCS. Then we've got Phil Cassidy's gun shop, which honestly would have been the perfect spot for a range. Upstairs in his store, there's an entire unused floor. Sure, it's not huge, but you could definitely cram a small shooting range up there. Instead, it's just full of lazily stacked boxes. And to make things weirder, the boxes are arranged like a tiny prison cell or something. Plus, they have broken textures. It just screams, this room was meant for something else. Now, okay, sure, the dialogue says around the back, not upstairs. So maybe that theory doesn't quite match. But don't worry, the idea of a shooting range still holds up. Why? Because the around the back line fits perfectly with the other ammunition locations. And yes, those stores don't technically have back rooms, but there is one spot in Portland that fits really well. It's a designated area out back, and in GTA 3, there are even 3 shooting targets there. On top of that, that's the exact location where you pick up weapons from a shopkeeper for both Joey and Luigi. So yeah, it's confirmed. That area belongs to ammunition. One last little detail, the around the back voice line, you'll never actually hear it in-game. It only shows up in the subtitle files, which is pretty weird because neither GTA 3 nor LCS normally show subtitles for gun shop dialogue. So why is it there? Who knows? But hey, not complaining, because thanks to that leftover subtitle, we gotta uncover a pretty cool little secret. Since we're already talking about Phil Cassidy, there's another little gem tied to him. I'm talking about a radar icon with the P titled Phil Radar. Not much room for ambiguity here. This icon was clearly meant to mark Phil's location on the map, probably where we'd go to start missions for him. In case anyone forgot, besides running his gun shop in Liberty City in 1998, Phil also shows up in person during one of the missions for Toshiko Kassen. That's the one where you steal a Yakuza weapons shipment and deliver it straight to Phil. It's a short appearance, but it gives us a glimpse into Phil's future. He mentions he's moving his business soon, to the same spot where his compound is located in GTA 3. So his downtown store, soon to be history. Side note, this scene also clears up the whole mess about which hand Phil canonically lost. In GTA 3, it was the left hand. In Vice City, suddenly it's the right. But here in LCS, it's the left again, suggesting Vice City just got it wrong. Probably a simple dev oversight. Back to the topic though, it really looks like we were originally supposed to do a few missions for Phil. Most likely stuff related to gun running or shady deals. And hey, maybe if we helped him out, he'd return the favor with some sweet discounts at his shop. Who knows? Now, while that's a pretty compelling theory, we do have to consider the less exciting possibility. Maybe the icon wasn't for missions at all. Maybe it was just supposed to mark the location of Phil's shop on the radar. In the final game, Rockstar went with an American flag icon instead. Supporting that idea is the icon's visual style. It doesn't match the rest of the mission icons. But then again, maybe that's because it comes from an earlier stage of development. And if that's the case, we're right back at the theory that there were supposed to be full-on missions. Digging through GTA 3, you'll stumble upon a bunch of unused pedestrian models. We're talking everything from extra gang member variants to alternate cops, likely scrapped in the end to keep performance stable. And let's be real, back then that stuff really mattered. But among the more interesting leftovers, there's one category that absolutely deserves a shout out: buskers. You know, those folks who wander city streets or set up in busy public spots, playing music with a little tip jar, or maybe a hat, or an open instrument case nearby. In GTA 4 and GTA 5, these kinds of characters aren't that rare. In fact, in GTA 4, tipping a busker enough times even gets you a ringtone as a reward. But unlike in those games, in GTA 3, you won't find a single one. And that's a shame, because this is exactly the kind of detail that breathes life into a game world. You've heard me say it before, but living, breathing NPCs are what make a game world truly feel alive. Anyway, while digging into GTA 3's files, you can actually find 4 of these unused busker skins. It looks like the 2 of them are based on, let's call it a Romanian mountain folk aesthetic, traditional clothing and all. And the clue that really seals it, one of them is holding a pan flute, a traditional Romanian instrument. The other is a kobza, another folk instrument from that region. Next up is a pretty casual looking older guy, dressed in a simple outfit and holding a saxophone, a more laid back urban jazz type. And finally, we've got what can only be described as the textbook stoner stereotype. Think Jethro or Dwayne from Vice City or San Andreas. Total dude energy. This guy's all about chillin', puffing on something very much not legal, wearing clothes that barely fit, with a messy hairstyle and a constant half-baked vibe. And of course, he's got a joint in his mouth to complete the whole look. What's interesting is that this guy's model shows him sitting, which likely means we would have encountered him already posted up on the sidewalk. Makes sense too, because his instrument is the congas, which you typically play seated, with the drums between your knees. It's such a shame they cut this. Running into a character like that while just wandering around Liberty City, that would have added so much flavor. But it looks like they ran into technical problems. Maybe scripting the animations or behavior was just too much at the time, and so the idea got shelved. Most of you probably remember that in GTA San Andreas, CJ can end up in debt if he loses too much money at the casino. He borrows cash from some goons who don't exactly play nice when it comes to repayment. They'll keep calling and harassing him, and after 3 ignored calls, they pull up in person, ready to deliver a proper beatdown to motivate Carl into figuring out a way to cough up the cash. Turns out this isn't the first time Rockstar played with this idea. We've got yet another example of a cut Vice City feature that later returned, slightly reworked, in San Andreas. More specifically, similar goons were originally supposed to harass Tommy Vercetti after he purchased Sunshine Autos. Why? Because the previous owner, BJ Smith, left town with a ton of financial baggage. Once he dipped, the loan sharks needed someone else to target. And guess who they picked? Yeah, our boy Tommy. Weird logic, maybe. But in that situation, kind of the only move they had. Especially since one of the voice lines from the loan sharks implies that when Tommy signed the deal for the dealership, he also unknowingly agreed to a clause that transferred the debts of Sunshine Autos onto him.
Mr. Vassetti, I have here a signed piece of crap stating that you have taken on all of BJ's Used Auto's debts.
Looks like BJ had taken out a big loan, using the property as collateral. So the whole thing was basically a mortgage-style setup. Get a loan backed by the property itself, and when the original guy bails, the debt sticks to the next sucker who signs the papers. Now, focusing on the scrapped loan shark system in Vice City, it wasn't just about threatening phone calls. Same as with CJ, things would have most likely escalated to some armed thugs showing up to rough Tommy up a bit. It's very possible that paying off the debt would have been a required step in completing the Sunshine Autos asset. Although I doubt it would have been shown as a negative bank balance like in San Andreas. More likely, a prompt would pop up in the garage like, do you want to pay off a debt for, let's say, $50,000? And once you coughed up the cash, boom. No more calls, no more goons, and maybe even a smoother ride running the business. One of the big things that sets GTA San Andreas apart from other games in the 3D universe is how deep the vehicle customization goes. Seriously, it was a game changer at the time, but unfortunately, not all vehicles got the love, and that includes motorcycles. Turns out though, that wasn't the original plan. We could tell thanks to some leftover files that include models for various bike parts, specifically for the FCR 900, BF 400, and NRG 500. Looks like we were supposed to have 2 alternate front fairing styles for each bike. For the BF and FCR, one version had a shorter front, the other longer. Meanwhile, the NRG 500 variant didn't differ in size as much, but had extra vents and added components for a sportier look. Another area that was meant to be customizable: exhaust pipes. On the BF 400, there were supposed to be 2 single pipe options, each with a different color scheme, and 1 dual pipe version. For the FCR and NRG, you'd get 2 dual pipe configs and 1 single. Oh, and of course, nitrous oxide. All 3 bikes were meant to support single or dual nitro canisters, just like the cars. Imagine that boost on an NRG. It's honestly a shame we never got any of this in the final game. Instead of letting us go wild with bike mods, Rockstar just threw in a few preset variations, mostly for the BF 400 and FCR 900. And yeah, I bet most of you have noticed that already. Alright, before we wrap up, here's a little question from me to you. Let's say you could bring just one of these cut features back. Which would it be? Let me know what you'd pick. Thanks for hanging out. Catch you next time.